We're going to be crossing now to Chris Moyle. He's down there in Tasmania, and he's had a busy few days, but knowing the man personally, he just does it in his stride. So we're going to cross soon to Chris Moyle, and Chris, you're down in Hobart, I believe, and you've had quite a big few days. Chris, are you there?
I am.
G'day. How's it going down there in Hobart? Is it about 14, 15 degrees like the last time I was down there, or is it sunny like Melbourne? I believe Melbourne's having a 25 degrees day today.
It's beautiful down here, Fazbags.
Is it? Is it?
Very nice, actually. A bit of wind coming down the east coast today, but outside of that, lovely day, mate.
Fantastic. Now, I know a little bit about your history, and it's quite colourful. You've come from many backgrounds in your career, but lately you've been climbing mountains and you've been riding extraordinary amounts of Ks, and you're down Tasmania. You love it down there. You love it because of the mountains. Last time I think I caught up with you in Tasmania, 6 o'clock in the morning, you went and climbed Mount Wellington.
As you do.
I was still in bed at about 10 a.m, but Chris caught up with me later in the day and he said, oh yeah, I got up at 6 and just climbed a mountain. So Chris, what's your love for climbing mountains?
I think it started as a kid, grew up in the country in East Gippsland, Victoria. Finished high school there, joined the army, doing the kind of crazy army stuff. Yeah. Always been an outdoors person, camping, fishing, hiking, all that kind of stuff. Played a lot of footy as well. Always, I guess, just enjoyed being up there in those environments. The biggest mountain I've ever climbed is Aconcagua in South America, in Argentina.
Right.
So it's the biggest mountain in the world outside the Himalayas. The top 14 biggest mountains in the world are inside the Himalayas.
Right.
So Aconcagua is just under 7 kilometres up. And to give you some reference, Fazbags, I would say that Mount Wellington is about 1.3 kilometres up.
Right.
And the biggest climbed is almost 7 kilometres.
Wow.
A bit of a difference.
That is a bit of. I don't think you would have been having a couple of bourbons down at Cargo before the big one.
Not likely, mate.
Now you love your footy as well. For all our listeners out there, I do know that there's a club in the AFL that's got quite a fairly good following. Don't know whether SD and I are overly favourable of them, but you're a Magpie, aren't you?
Oh, mate, through and through. Geez, I'm old school. You know, you grew up and you didn't even date a girl unless she went for your team. And that was just how it was in Victoria, and it never changed much. But no, big Collingwood fan.
Yeah.
I've had my ups and downs. My best mate growing up, though, was a Richmond supporter.
Yes.
So,
smart guy.
Good taste.
Yeah.
Let's not get carried away.
You'd be getting excited. Obviously, today is the first game, but Collingwood, are they a chance to have a win in round one under Craig McRae?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, they're a good team. I think Fly's done a really good job.
He come from Richmond. He won a flag at VFL. Then he's been involved in the AFL from the Tigers. Well, mate,
he's coming from pretty good ground.
In the last 5-6 years, we just win. So I can understand why he got the gig.
Yeah, he did all right in the Brisbane Lions, I think, too, mate.
The Queenslanders. You love your state of origin rugby, but you've also been involved in the tribunal systems up there. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, many years ago, back in the old days, basically anyone who had a lot of football experience or played a high level of football got invited along, did your old interview, and you got onto the tribunal in some way, shape or form. So I've been in the AFL Queensland Tribunal, so AFLQ it's called, for about 18 years. I've been a tribunal panel, a prosecutor and a chairperson. But of recent years, in the last probably say 10, it's kind of got more professional and follow on the lines of the Victorian system, with more lawyers involved now and less kind of seasoned ex-footballers.
Yeah, SD, you probably have a bit of an interest into the Brisbane Lions lately because they've got a very good, strong side. What's your thoughts on how the Lions are going to go? I mean, Gold Coast, they're touch and go to get in the finals, maybe. But what do you think? Do you think the Lions could be a chance for the premiership?
No.
No.
Well,
You're very cut and dried, SG.
They can't be because I think it's Richmond's year again. But no, I think they'll definitely be.
God, two of you.
I'm afraid so. No, I think they'll be in with a good shot.
They're a very strong
I
side.
think they're coming in pretty well.
Yeah. See,
And-
Gunston's in the side, and also they picked up Dunkley from the Bulldogs. He's going to be a strong midfielder.
Yeah,
And they've got a
that's
good
a big
forward
win.
line. Good forward line. Cameron sneaking around. Danaher, if he's fit, staying on the park, he's likely to kick a lot of goals this season. I reckon they'll be strong.
No, they've definitely got the resources. I think we'll see them performing well this year.
Yeah. So Chris, you're a Queenslander. You live up there in Brisbane. Do you get along to the Lions games, or do you take any interest in the Gold Coast?
Oh, I've no interest in the Gold Coast.
Sorry to all you Gold Coast listeners, wherever you are.
Yeah.
That's
No,
right,
but-
they don't have many,
They're out
so
of the
they're
pub.
probably not listening.
Not really. I've gone on to the Gabba. This is going to sound bad, but I'm being a true Collingwood supporter now. I do go along when Collingwood plays.
Do you put the footy jumper on like a true Collingwood with the VFL jumper, or do you prefer the corporate box attire?
Oh no, the whole lot goes on, mate.
Get into it.
I'm a through and through, and so are the kids, and you know, I'd disown them if they weren't Collingwood supporters.
Can I ask what's your take on Port Adelaide being given the all clear for their prison bar jumper?
Yeah, I think it's only a trial period, isn't it?
Yeah, it's for the showdown.
Yeah.
It's not going to be all the time. It's going to be the showdown against Adelaide.
I think it's round three.
Yeah.
Round three.
I think look, they've got a strong history. It's been going for a long time. I understand Collingwood's, you know, want to protect their brand, etc. But I think initially I'm okay with it. I'm not sure if I'd like it if it was a full-time thing. I think it'd create some kind of confusion. We don't want to get down that road of, the EPL and have 20 different jerseys when we run onto the field.
I know it's not quite to the same level of performance, but I played for Launceston down there when I was a young fellow in the under-19s, and when they came into the it was called the TFL back then, show my age a little bit, but I played for the Launceston Raiders. They used to be the Launceston Blues for many years, but because they came into the TFL, they couldn't have two teams because Devonport were the Devonport Blues. So we were the Raiders. So it was a little bit of sort of controversy as to the fact that Launceston had a lot more history than Devonport, but they still got bumped to the Raiders name rather than the Blues. But a lot of history in footy clubs, a lot of controversy, a lot of parochialism. But at the end of the day, it's a business, and there's a lot of clauses in contracts and sponsorships involvement and members and seating. There's a whole lot goes into it. But look, Chris, thanks very much for your talk about the footy, but let's get back to this mountaineering and what you're doing. And so you're running like adventure tours, or people jump on a trek with you? What tell us all about it.
Yeah, well, climbingmountains.com.au, so that's my global adventure company. We do adventure tours all over the world, predominantly in Europe.
Yep.
Things like looking up the Camino, riding up in the Italian Alps.
Yeah. I could do that, I'm sure.
Wild Atlantic Way in Ireland. Just finished one down here in Tasmania, rode from Launceston over to St Helens, then down to Hobart, roughly 430 k's as part of St Patrick's. St Patrick's Day tomorrow.
Yeah, well, I went to St Patrick's. I went to St Patrick's College in Launceston, and so St Patrick's Day was a pretty big day. We had a St Patrick's carnival. Any chance to get out of maths and science, I was happy with that. And and being slightly Irish, having a name Farrelly, we used to have the occasional Guinness too when I was over 18.
Ooh,
So St Patrick's Day is a great day. However, I'm not overly as fit as you, Chris.
I wouldn't know Fazbags,
I'm not quite ready for the big trek. But if it was somebody that was interested in maybe getting involved with this, is there like a level of entry that you could sort of just start off and do the 10K run or go into a triathlon, or how would you advise them to get ready?
Well, essentially, when you sign up to do one of our trips, we kind of have a Zoom call like this. We go through, what your aspirations are, how fit you are, what you want to achieve from it, and then we kind of tailor it to you. So we do have people that sometimes grab electric bikes because they mightn't be used to riding long distances.
Yeah,
but if you're doing like the Camino,
that sounds good.
exactly. But if you're doing like the Camino or things like that, we just put a training program together for you and get you up to a certain level and guide you through the process.
So what should people do? Should they jump onto your website? Should they
Definitely.
email you? What's the best way? They scout through the different options on your website and then submit their details for you to contact them. How's it work?
Exactly right. They can do it that way, or they can reach out at chris@climbingmountains.com.au. Happy to answer any questions, all obligation free. It's about a good experience, not about making money.
Sure. Well, that's fantastic. And I know you're a guy that you've had a lot of experience and you're very open to helping people. You're a fellow with what I would class a big heart. You're like a big lion or tiger. Not sure you're really sort of got the heart like a magpie, because they normally come in from behind and smack in the head.
Oh, they're annoying little buggers, to be honest. Yeah.
Little snipers.
I
Anyway,
still can't believe you're both Richmond supporters.
Look, when we had the production meeting and the general manager said, I've got a possible co-host for you, I thought, oh, geez, I'm going to get an Eagle or I'm going to get a Collingwood supporter. And then they said, you've got someone that goes for the Tigers. And I said, she's in. No problem. Sign her up. So SD, she is a Tiger and she's for Launceston as well, Chris.
I am, and I've done my little bit of. I haven't climbed, but I've certainly hiked. I've done Cradle Mountain.
Nice.
Yeah, that was a good one.
It's lovely up there.
Yeah. So where would you recommend in Tasmania for a good hike?
Oh, I think anywhere around Cradle Mountain or the Three Capes. There's so many wonderful walking tracks all over Tasmania, as you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
The list goes on and on and on. I guess the only variable to it all is the weather, because, Tasmania's beautiful for a number of reasons, but it's 4 seasons in one day. And if not time of season it is, it can change the game quite easily. As you know, if you do Cradle Mountain in the summer, it's warm, but, it's fairly easy. But in winter, well,
she's bloody cold.
Yeah, I was out there. I was out there in September.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's probably perfect.
Yeah, and I saw all seasons.
Yeah.
I was sort of thigh deep in snow, and then roasting myself. Roasting my butt off, and it was a brilliant experience. Where's the number one spot for you though?
Oh, I find the Camino. So Camino Francais, you start in the Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port, and you can either walk or trek across the Pyrenees Mountains, across all of Spain. Once you get there, Spain is quite cheap, food, wine, accommodation, etc. And our packages are quite competitive. So it's a really great historical, spiritual journey. I've never had anyone do it, including myself, and not come back, a changed person.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, Chris, you the occasional practical joker. You've played a couple little jokes and we've had a bit of fun, you and I personally, years ago. Is there any slight challenge that we should probably put to SD? Probably being over in WA would be a little bit easier for her to start, but we could gradually increase her challenges throughout the show during the year. What do you think, Chris?
You think walking, or you think?
We could definitely up the ante. I'm sure we could get SD on a bike, or we could. What can't you do, SD?
What can't I do? Caving.
Caving.
Yeah.
Don't like being claustrophobic.
No, wouldn't. No, that's off the list.
You don't like ghosts. What?
No, it's the confined spaces.
Confined spaces.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. I've done a bit of the Bibbulmun track. That was all right, but to be honest, it's quite boring having come from Tassie and had all that beautiful, that environment to hit the Bibbulmun, and it's pretty naff in comparison. Sorry, WA.
Well, there's a great thing. That's a lovely segue, SD. Chris not only is into mountain climbing, he's involved with helicopters, so he could probably fly you to a destination and you could do all sorts of treks. Chris, tell us a little bit about your career with your helicopter surveying and things. That's quite interesting too.
Yeah, well, that's my last career. I spent 11 years aerial surveying all over Asia Pacific. And one stage we had the Tas networks as one of our contracts, so we did all of Tasmania, but New South Wales and Queensland and New Zealand and other parts. So, yeah, I mean, definitely not something I do now, but yes, many years of experience.
Yeah, I found it quite fascinating when you and I first met each other down there in Hobart. Gee, that would probably be about 9 years ago, or I don't know.
Yeah, I'd say so, mate.
Yeah.
How long? When did you leave Tassie last?
I left Tassie probably around about 4.5 years ago to come back to the west. Prefer the weather over here, but I do love Tassie, and I aim to get back there hopefully later in the year to see Mum and Dad. They're down there in Shearwater, and no doubt they'll be listening on the PC. So g'day Mum and Dad in Shearwater. Hopefully Kev's not getting too excited with the heart rate. He's about 84, but he's probably had one little mid-strength beer, just the nerves of Richmond Carlton. He's got a couple of mates that are Carlton. If they bloody lose or if he gets his footy tip wrong, I'll tell you what, we hear about it for about 3 days, poor old Kev. But anyway, moving on. Chris, thank you very much for your time. We could probably talk to you for a lot longer, I know, because you've got a lot to talk about, and I'm really, really interested in what moves forward with your climbing mountains business, and congratulations on setting that up over the last few years. And sounds like a great opportunity for people that want to try something completely different, and I think it'd be great maybe for corporate teamwork. Would that be right?
Oh, definitely, mate. I think also too, don't forget on the website we do bespoke. So if people have ideas they want to do or have a bucket list, we can put it together.
Yeah.
Love it.
SD, what do you think? Is there a trek that you might put in your wish list in the next month?
Or in the next month?
Well, you got to get ready. You got to plan. You're talking to a guy that used to be in the army. He would have planned out everything to the exact point. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been the man he is.
I don't know. I mean, it would have to be local to start with, and to be honest, there's not that many mountains here. It's pretty flat in WA.
We might have to have a think about it.
We might have to.
We might have to get in touch with Chris.
Maybe ask for some suggestions.
Yeah, we'll get on that website and scout over it. So that website again, SD, what was that?
Climbingmountains.com.au, I believe.
Yeah, well, let's do that. And anyone listening out there, we've got quite a fair few people over east that are listening. We've even got people in the UK that emailed and said they loved the show last week. SD.
How great's that?
Yeah, it would be pretty early in the morning over there at the moment, but they're probably on their way to work and they're getting all excited about the footy before they go into their sales meeting.
Of course they are.
So excellent, fantastic. Thank you very much for joining us, Chris, and enjoy your next little ride around Tassie. Another 50, 100 Ks. What do you got planned?
No, she's done. The St. Patrick's Day challenge is done.
That's it.
Finished today, so tomorrow it's a massage, and then it's the Irish pubs in Hobart.
Nice.
Would you partake in a little Guinness yourself, or are you still a bit of a bourbon on the rocks, man?
No, on the Guinness,
on the Guinness, good man.
On the Jamesons,
good stuff. Good stuff.
Even brought my Irish jacket with me.
Is that Irish Murphy's down there in Salamanca? Is that where you're going to be popping yourself?
You know where it is.
Yeah, thanks to Irish Murphy's. When I'm down next, I expect a free pint.
Down the hill, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's a
beautiful spot. Beautiful. Play a little bit of Irish
Salamanca.
music. Yeah, beautiful down there. Now, talking of Tasmania, Chris, you love it down there. What do you think about the 19th licence, the chance of a Tassie team? Would that be of interest to you?
Oh, I love the idea. I think it's great.
Yeah,
I think it's fantastic. I mean, to be honest, I think any clubs that aren't performing, if they're, if they're like Queensland or other entities that have multiple clubs, then, if they're not working, move on. I'd be keen to see Tassie have a team.
Yeah, do you think it'll work? If you think the corporates get behind it, do you think there'd be enough interest and parochialism of the locals to get behind it and make it work?
Yeah, I think it'd be huge, but I think the big thing, Fazbags, would be that you've got to get bums on seats, mate. You know,
Yeah,
you've got to get people into the
Lock them in for
stadium.
those 12-month memberships and all those things, so that you know your cash flow's right and you got the contracts in place and all those sort of things. It's pretty important in this sort of business, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely, mate, definitely. But yeah, look, I think it'd be great. I think it's a long time coming.
Yeah.
Long time overdue, I should say.
Yeah, well, Chris, thank you very much for your time. I know you're a busy man. You've probably got appointments and things lined up this evening. So thank you very much for joining SD and myself. And we might even keep in touch with you, Chris, later on in the year, and we find out if you're on top of a mountain somewhere.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'd love to dial at any time. Thanks very much for having me. Really appreciate it, guys. And nice to meet you, SD.
Yeah, thanks, Chris.
All right. Thank you very much. We'll be going to a song now, and we'll be getting revved up because Richmond and Carlton, that's right, Richmond Carlton starting at 4:20. We're going to have a little bit of a chat about what we think is going to happen in the first game.
Let's do it.